Hello, everyone. Welcome to another segment of the Court Journal. This time it's going to be audio only, I know, but we do have a special guest, but I'm not going to get into all that today. The quote of the day, and you probably heard this a million times, but it rings true to this day, and it's just trust the process, right? Trust the process. We're just going to keep on going, and I'm going to introduce our special guest, and we're here to talk about nothing but Hoopsteria, and it's Coach Drayton. Coach Drayton, how you doing today?
Doing amazing. Always blessed and thankful that the Lord woke me up.
Absolutely. Me too. Me too. Now, you have called college games. You know the market, you know the landscape, and this is why you are perfect because you are a court general in your own right, and you are perfect for this conversation. And we're just going to talk about hoopsteria as a broad term and how we going to get into it. How's that sound?
Oh, that sounds amazing. Basketball my first love. So
Mine too. And it might be my only one the way it's turning out for me. But that's a different story for a different day. Let's talk ACC, right? Hoopsteria. A lot of teams are ranked in this conference, right? Who do you like, Coach Drayton? Who do you don't like? Who's gonna go far? Who's not gonna go far?
I have two teams in this conference that I think are gonna go far,
Hmm.
and I think one of them's a surprise. The first team I'm gonna say it's no surprise. I think Duke's gonna go far. Cooper
Okay.
Flag, Big Vic, They have to me at least the composition
Right.
of teams that usually go far in tournament style basketball. They have the good leading guards, strong forwards that are good defensively. They generally can be a team that's either high offense or high defense,
Hmm.
and they play good complementary basketball. Now the second team, I don't think a lot of people are really high on them for Hoopsteria, but ironically I think UNC North Carolina.
Oh
I
wow.
see a lot of the I see a lot of the same from them. The backcourt strong. They have bigs that can defend when the offense isn't there. They have bigs that can clean it up. I know KPJ said something about they need an elite big. I do think they have. Well, I'm not gonna say they have elite bigs because that elite caliber is like reserved for players that are gonna be drafted in the lottery. But they definitely have SWBA talent bigs.
Hmm. I, you know what? I agree with your first pick, Duke, and there's no question that if they're not in close to making the quad, it'll be a disappointing season for them. I'm not sure about the other blue blood. I'm not sure about North Carolina. Their inability to be efficient and finish games is a problem I would run into with them. But my second team, and everybody knows this, right? I'm biased. It is what it is. It's VT, right? Virginia Tech, and a lot of people don't give them the credit that they deserve. And now that they're at the number one spot, I think the spotlight and the little microscope even gets even smaller on them going into that conference championship game and Hoopsteria. But let's just keep it rolling, right? Let's talk about the American Conference, a very fun conference. Who you got in this conference, Coach?
Uh, if we're still picking two, I'm gonna say this is another shocker. This Princeton team to me, I don't know why. Maybe it's because I'm from New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
I believe this Princeton team can make a deep run. Not nothing crazy. They could
Okay.
make it to the Ocho. They could. I think they
Okay.
like 8 teams left. I think they can do that.
Right. Right.
And a team that I'm not saying they'll make a deep run, but I think they'll have a shocking run is SMU with Cam Jones. It seems like they have the building blocks,
Mm-hmm.
but the talent is young. So at least in my mind, when teams have young players that have been leading them the entire time,
Right.
those guys usually take either a step forward or a step back in tournament play. And I think, in my mind, that they would take a step forward.
I think so too. I actually agree with you on this one. And I got SMU in that category, a Cinderella-ish team, because they are 15 and 15. They kind of fell off the ropes from early in the season. We were high on this SMU team, really talking. big, big confidence in them, and they kind of fell off. So they fall back into that Cinderella type team with Cam Jones, the elite scorer. But I got two other things I want to talk to you about, Coach. I think Memphis is going to drop the ball for this conference. I don't think they're going to perform well. I don't think they got it in them. And I love Coach Penny Hardaway. I know him personally. I just don't think they got that grit that they need to make it past the Sweet 16. I don't think they have it. And the team I'm going with, and again, HBCU for life, right? Jackson State. I'm riding with my boys. I mean, they come into the conference. They're in the championship game. How could you not root for this team? How could you not?
Now, I usually, I play the one and the two. I
Hmm.
definitely prefer to play the one. The only reason why I can't, I'm a fan of the university, not the players on the team.
Okay.
I personally can't get behind Diva Woodley.
Diva Woodley.
He, he's really up or he's really down, and that to me, when you're talking about guards, as
That
far as tournament play goes, yeah, you can't have that.
that's bad.
And somebody's gonna tell me, well, you just said Cam Jones. It's different. Cam Jones is young. This is
D Willie is a
he's
senior. He is
this,
a
this
senior.
it's two completely different beasts that we're talking about.
Okay.
One guy being inconsistent because he's 18 years old and
Hmm.
hadn't experienced this level yet is completely different than another guy being inconsistent and he has to enter the draft after this. It's two
Right.
different categories that we're talking about.
And you know what? I'm not saying you're wrong, but I think this team is they're just like, and we're gonna move on right after this. I think this team is just hitting the right confidence and right stride at the right time, kind of like they did in the middle of the season or early in the season, early middle-ish season when they were ranked. This team was upsetting people right before conference play. I know you remember that time. They're in that
Yeah.
same type of groove, and I'm not saying you're wrong. I just like to hear other people talk about Diva Woodley. That's funny. I ain't gonna lie, that's funny. Let's move on. The what is this? The Big 12, right? Who you got? Who you don't like? Who talk to me about this? Because I don't like this conference at all.
Ironically, me and you are in the same boat. To say I like a team in this conference would be exaggerating.
Mhm. Mhm.
I don't. I have none of them going far. If
Mm.
if one of them does, then somebody hopefully y'all quote me and be like, "Oh, Coach Drayton don't know ball because he said nobody in the Big 12 will go far." And look, if I had to pick a team that might upset or throw my word off and make me look like a liar, I would probably say Kansas State, just because they have
Mm.
this crazy ability to where they play so unorganized and they just muck it up. They have the ability to turn bad spacing, bad shot selection into efficiency. And it goes against everything that I've been taught in basketball. But I've seen them beat teams like that. It'd be like, oh wow, that possession it's shanked. This guy's in the wrong spot. This guy's really in this guy's way.
Right.
All right, this possession's over. And
Everything.
then a contested layup or a super deep floater goes in, and you kind of got to be like, well, that won't happen again. And then it consistently happens for them. They're just one of those teams that I don't want to call them street ball because they're a coached college basketball team.
Right.
But when you're playing street ball with your friends and you're playing with somebody who doesn't really know basketball and they're just, I don't want to say they're in the way, they're just kind of doing their own thing.
Right.
And then it just leads to a bucket. You're never mad at those people, but
So it sounds like, and I don't like nobody in this conference. I know B Ron has Kansas somewhere in the quad. No, that's B Ron. I don't think nobody's going far in this conference. I think they suck, and that's for lack of better words. But Kansas State, you're talking about K State right now. It sounds like you said Kansas State is not controlled chaos, but they are chaos. And for
just
some
pure.
others,
It's. I don't want to. I'm not poking fun at anybody's
right?
team,
But it's good
but
chaos. It works for them.
it works for them. I would, as somebody who coaches basketball, when you see it, you're like, oh my god, oh that's not gonna work, and then it leads to a bucket. I mean,
It's like you said it best. It goes against everything you've been taught in basketball. let's keep it moving. The Big East. And this is a weird conference to me, but I want. I'm think I'm gonna give my opinion first. I'm gonna let you talk about this conference, right? The only team I have doing well in this conference is Villanova, and I'm not sure why. I think they compete really well against each other, and this is like a good conference for conference games. But when it comes to Hoopsteria and playing against other people, I don't think this conference has the ability to win at a high level. How do you feel, Coach?
And I'm gonna 100% agree with you. I think outside of Villanova, I don't want to call them pretenders, but a lot of these records are lies. I don't think St. John's makes a deep run. Butler doesn't make a deep run. Georgetown doesn't make a deep run. Marquette doesn't. They just. I'm
Hmm.
not saying it's a lack of firepower or a lack of coaching, but the rosters aren't built for deep runs. If I had to pick a team that I think could make a deep run, that's not Villanova. Maybe St. John's.
That's what I was
Maybe.
thinking. Shea King and Shea King has that type of that star power, that energy, that enthusiasm that could elevate his play to a hoop stereotype feel. Almost when we had Steph Curry for Davidson, or we had Jimmer for that back when he was coming through, or who else went crazy? What's the guy name? Gordon, when he was back with Butler, I think maybe Butler. Yeah, Gordon when he hit the half court shot, that type of star power. They come out of nowhere. I think Shea King has that ability to come out of nowhere and win games for St. John. Do I think it's gonna happen? Probably
No.
not. Nah.
We can both agree.
Yeah,
It's
but he does have that personality and character to live up to that type of, I would say, run. All right, the Big Ten. Now, this is a conference that's interesting. I want to hear your opinion first on this one because I don't think a lot of people are gonna like my opinion.
uh if one of these teams makes it out of the first round, I'll probably buy somebody like a steak dinner or something. I don't I don't see it.
It's not.
They
It's not you.
they 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 struggled out of conference and then in conference. There doesn't actually seem to be a pack leader.
Right.
Like Iowa, you could say, oh well, Iowa was good out of conference. Were
Mhm.
they? Because they struggled when you're talking about facing cream of the crop. They
Mhm.
struggled against those types of teams. So again, I don't know if I'm. Again, I'm not trying to bash the team, but if I had to say like where they were going, none of these teams I have high expectations for.
Mhm.
Now they have some players I like, but
Mhm.
the team as a whole, no.
Right. And I know some of these CKC fans are gonna be in the thread talking about, oh, Maryland's gonna go far, and I don't believe it. I don't believe in Maryland. I don't believe in Purdue, Minnesota, Illinois, Michigan, Michigan State. But this Iowa team, this is the only team I have circled on this Big Ten. And the reason why is because Sherwood, right? I still think he's the player of the year, even though he got hurt and missed some games. But when he missed those games, we saw an immediate drop off. And when he came back, we saw an immediate pickup. And that's why I think this team is scary. I mean, they're sitting at 18 and 10. They're ranked 12th. I think the ranking in Hoopsteria is going to be a little different than what people think. I think they're going to be in that medium kind of seating, if I'm right. And that's going to be scary for that 8, 9 game, something like that. And I think this team has the ability to surprise some people and make it far. Okay, next I'm looking at the Mountain West. What do you think about this? Oh wait, no, I think I'm gonna go first. I'm gonna say nothing. I don't think they have nothing, and it's been a competitive race for the conference title. But as far as the big boys go, this team, eh, they're kind of like a warm-up game, in my opinion.
Hey, those warm up games are important. I don't want to say that I'm going against you because pretty much, yeah, that's how I feel. I am rooting for Nat Hawkins and UNLV.
Okay,
He's definitely one of my more favorite players. But do I think they magically become a team that can upset somebody? No.
okay. Now look.
Again, basketball is one on all three levels. I don't think they have three levels of talent. I think they can score in the post, sometimes score in the perimeter, and then that's pretty much it.
And you know what, Coach Drake, it's amazing to say this, but we are great minds in the game. So it would be kind of an issue if we were disagreeing on most of this, because you call games, I call games. We've been at it all season. We've been working hard. We're ready for the conference title games, and we're ready for Hoopsteria. And nobody's more prepared, besides the teams, of course, than the people calling the game. So it would be kind of crazy if we didn't agree on most of this, right?
Yeah, I mean, I I look for the upsets. I like seeing the upsets. It's just some of these it's just really hard because of
Right.
how talented
Yes.
other teams are that you
Yes.
just pull a rabbit out of your hat.
And we I would love to get you back on the court journal and talk upsets once we get that official bracket, because then I think we could get into play styles, players, coaches, home wins, away wins, neutral site wins, and all that plays a category into Hoopsteria. But we don't got the matchups yet. We're just talking about real general right here. And let's talk about the Pac-12. What do you think? I know UCLA's pretty good. I've been hearing about them, but everybody else in this conference, eh, eh.
I mean, again, outside of my own personal bias,
Mhm.
again, this is another conference where if you look at how they performed out of the conference, UCLA is the only team that's shown they can win out of conference. And I think a lot of people are overlooking that because you can dominate a bad conference.
Yes. Yes, you can.
And if I'm, and we're going to get to this conference next, if I'm talking about strength of conferences, there's only two real conferences that really give me like you dominated this conference and it means something. And that's the SEC and the ACC.
Absolutely.
So if we're talking about dominating a conference, I'm not Utah dominating Pac-12 competition isn't like that doesn't do it for me. That
Right.
I'm not believing that this team magically can make a run or a jump at any type of title aspiration because they're dominating. I don't want to call them lesser competition, but if we're talking about cream of the crop, they
Right.
didn't face that in this conference.
It's just not the same, right? And I 100% agree with you. Utah dominated the Pac-12. Okay, you're supposed to do that if you're the best team, or you're UCLA. You're supposed to dominate the Pac-12. And if I had to put UCLA in the SEC right now, I see them at sitting right there with Mississippi State at 7, Florida at 6, maybe Texas A&M at 5. I don't know. But let's just talk about the SEC. Now, I think I'm going to go first because I'm biased. And I am. It is what it is. The champion is coming out of the SEC this year, right? We have one, two, three, four. We got 5 teams ranked. We got Bama, Kentucky, Arkansas, Auburn. I mean, I just don't see any other conference. I say the ACC, but it's going to be the champion is coming from the SEC, and the reason I say this is because of the brand of basketball it plays. They can play fast, they can play slow, they can play physical. They cannot score the ball and still win games. And I'm talking about the SEC as a whole, right? And the two teams I'm looking forward to performing extremely well is Alabama and Kentucky. There's no questions asked. How do you feel, Coach?
I was hoping you would say just a different team so I could have a different arguing point than you, but you even picked the same teams that I did. It's to me, this is Kentucky's national championship to lose.
Okay, I
They
feel you.
have star power at guard. They have the star power at forward. They have arguably, and you're saying Sherwood. I'm saying Jamison Johnson. When we're
Okay,
talking about the best big in college or the player of the year, it's probably somebody in the SEC. 100%. The I don't want to say that other conferences don't have dogs, but when you look at how rosters line up, the best rosters are in the SEC. Teams that can do it all, and then it seems like every team in the SEC is teams that can do it all. When you got to face the most adversity and you face the most competition and you're still dominating that adversity and that competition, how
Mhm.
can I not pick you?
Mhm. It's a different level of respect you have for the top of the SEC. But before we get out of here, right? I have to make you pick, and it's obvious the two conferences that have the most talent, that's most overpowered in the U this year. It's the ACC and it's the SEC. Now, if who is the champion coming from? I already said where I think the champion's coming from, but Coach Drayton, where is the national champion coming from? Which conference?
I'm gonna. Oh, I don't want to do this. I really don't. I'm gonna feel sick to
Ooh,
my stomach
ooh,
saying
yeah.
this because
I
I
put you
hate
on the
this
spot.
team. I hate this team. I think if everything goes right and they just have one of those perfect runs where they get the matchups that they want, it's hard for me to believe that Duke doesn't come away with a national championship. And I hate
Oh
Duke.
my God.
Absolutely hate Duke.
Oh
I
no,
don't
you
want to
didn't.
say that. It
No,
makes
you
my
didn't.
stomach turn. I
No,
don't like Blue Devils. I don't like the color blue that much.
no, you didn't. No, you on the court general and you gonna say the Duke Blue Devils? Oh my God, I can't believe this. And you know what? That is a wrap for this segment. That is a wrap. And Coach Drayton, we appreciate you very much. We value your opinion. I value your opinion very highly across the world, right? And I think everybody else does, and we are looking forward to getting these conference title games underway. We are looking forward to getting that bracket out. And Coach Drayton, we thank you for being on. Hashtag see the game, be the game.